Hi, I'm Gabe. I'm a zillennial, a candy connoisseur, a Gryffindor, a skier, a paddleboarder, a sixth-generation Canadian, a 51-time blood donor. But right now, I primarily identify as a Swiftie. I'm currently part-time employed. I just started working with Santa's Anonymous, and I'm also a ski coach. As far as my qualities, I'd say I'm loud, passionate, analytical, determined, enthusiastic, friendly, adventurous, and I'm bilingual. I learned French through school and studied it in university. What does that have to do with global leadership? Let me show you. According to our textbook, global leadership is the processes and actions through which an individual influences a range of internal and external constituents from multiple national cultures and jurisdictions in a context characterized by significant levels of task and relationship complexity. Culture is more than nationality. It also has to do with regions, history, spirituality, and even every family has their own culture. For example, I'm loud and friendly because I come from a family of extroverts. If you have something to say at dinner, you need to follow a fast conversation and be ready to pounce when it's your turn. Global leaders work across these cultural differences, so I still need to be able to settle down and wait my turn when I'm interacting with quieter cultures. Global leadership is also fundamentally complex. Global leaders must balance complicated cultural, personal, and team states to achieve a shared goal. This is a pretty incredible feat. To achieve it, a global leader needs the qualities and competencies of a global leader. It's actually quite simple. According to Mendenhall et al., you just need to have the competencies of business and organizational acumen, competencies of managing people and relationships, and competencies of managing self. These three categories are each broken down into 5 easy subcategories, and those each contain a handful of competencies identified by various scholars in global leadership, which are all pretty easy to understand. For example, under competencies in managing people and relationships, we have the subcategory interpersonal skills, which can include, but is not limited to, emotional intelligence, empathy, emotional sensitivity, extroversion, social flexibility, agreeableness, presence, intercultural sensitivity, urgent listening, instilling trust. Hang on. Does that say urgent listening? What on earth is urgent listening? Like, I've heard of attentive listening and active listening, but Google doesn't have a definition, but here's something about emergency listening. Is that the same thing as urgent listening? Let's see. It's episode 96 of a podcast called Deep Listening. That sounds super interesting. I should probably start from the beginning. Wait, I'm getting off track. Okay, maybe this is a little more complicated than I thought. I guess that's why I'm here. My whole life, I've wanted to be a global leader. I've been passionate about volunteering and getting involved in my community from a young age, and I have always been fascinated by other cultures and international affairs. I even went to United Nations summer camp in high school. In the middle of my undergrad at the University of Alberta, I took a gap year. I made sure to seize as many opportunities as I could. I started by working for 4 months as a youth mentor on a Cree reserve in northern Alberta, which meant being immersed in a culture different from my own, even though I was only about 2 hours away from where I grew up. Then I set out traveling. It was my first time outside North America and my first time traveling solo, so I just dove right in. I volunteered for 1 month each in Kenya and South Africa on 2 different volunteerism projects, which were both extremely, say it with me, toxic. Educational. In Kenya, there were so many levels of bureaucracy that the orphanage, which was actually stuck with hosting us, volunteering is a generous word, they didn't really need us, they didn't see a dime of the hundreds of dollars we each paid to be there. In South Africa, I could at least tell my money was going directly to the surf program for kids from the township, which was ultimately a good thing, but I could also tell it was more of a party program than it was meaningful volunteer work. All of that said, these experiences still made me aware of the widespread suffering, corruption, and poverty in our world today. I returned to university and switched my major to French, having realized during my travels that speaking a second language will help you no matter where you want to go in the world or what you want to do. I refuse to believe that ethical aid doesn't exist or that it's better to do nothing. I'm here as part of my mission to find out what it looks like and how I can help. I hope the Masters in Global Leadership will teach me to evaluate global initiatives and lead them to be the best they can be. I'm looking to hone the skills and competencies to do this. Last year, I moved to Banff to work at a hotel, and I made some videos when I first got there to motivate myself to excel at my job.
The girls I was working with were really awesome. I made some friends. I learned fast because I love picking up new skills.
It worked because I was promoted to supervisor within just a few months of starting. However, it was not smooth sailing all the way. At times, it was complicated navigating the complex cultural differences between myself and my coworkers, hotel guests, and other band fights. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. I had so many incredible experiences and learned so much over this year, and I look forward to continuing that growth through the Masters in Global Leadership. For example, I have previously said my leadership qualities include being empathetic, adventurous, open-minded, analytical, outgoing, a good problem solver, and enthusiastic. Our textbook drew my attention to the fact that enthusiastic is not a universally valued trait across all cultures in a leader. So I'll need to be mindful of this depending on the cultures in which I might work in the future. I hope to gain a robust understanding of what it takes to be a global leader, like urgent listening, so I can apply this knowledge in my future endeavors. My most important goals for the future are travel, lifelong learning, and to leave the world a little better than I found it by helping others every step of the way. I hope to one day be responsible for representing Canada's interests abroad, overseeing international aid, or managing intercultural and international relationships. Fulfilling these goals requires the composition of a global leader, so that's why I'm here. The amount of knowledge and experience I'm surrounded by in my professors, classmates, and readings might be overwhelming, but I live my life by the quote, "If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room."